Hey guys, I'm back with the next episode of What If Issei was the son of Lucifer and Alucard. Hope you like, subscribe. Later, I'm going to be recording something new, and I hope you like it. So, we're going to start this off when Issei says, well, hello there. Everyone looks toward Issei as Sir Zex says, who are you and what's your relation to Dracula? My relation to Dracula. Run that by me again. As Sir Zex explains how you told Akano, you told Riaz if she sold Alucard that you would become her servant, but when she sold it, it spelled Dracula. She sold it, huh? Well, a deal's a deal. Red, come here. You talking about me? Says Riaz. As he says, who else? I mean, I could be talking to your brother, but that's the only other person that has red hair. So, come here, and you could try. As she goes over there, she tries to put all her pawn pieces into Issei, but they just glow, and then they just fall back down. And her eyes went wide. So she grabs three mutated pieces. I'm just gonna say she has three mutated pawn pieces. So she tries those, they didn't work. And she tries the rest of her mutated pieces, they all didn't work. Because, well, Issei's stronger than most of the people here. As she says, I don't understand, why didn't they work? And he says, well, like I told you, even if you tried to reincarnate me, you are weaker than me, so it wouldn't work. So Sir Zex says yes, and Beelzebub says, even though that is true, the mutated pieces have more power to reincarnate people stronger than them, so you must be heavenly dragon level or above to not be able to reincarnate. As Issei starts to chuckle, and the angels are on guard this whole time because they don't like vampires. They don't like devils either, but they can tolerate devils. They really don't like vampires. So they were on guard this whole time. As Issei starts chuckling, and Michael yells, "What's funny?" And Issei says, "Well, the fact you don't know who I am, that's the funny part. But what do you want?" As Sir Zex says, we want to know your relation to Dracula. Issei looks over back at Sir Zex and says, my relation to Dracula was, well, he trained me to control my bloodlust. As that's not technically a lie, because Alucard did help Issei control his bloodlust. And all his other powers, well, most of his other powers, Lucifer helped with the devil powers that he inherited from her. So they think that Issei was trained by Dracula, and no one really knows whether or not Dracula really died. So they ask Issei, how old are you? As he says a time before the Great War, before the war between each faction. Like, he would be like 12, maybe 13 when the war actually started. So they think that it could be possible that he was trained by Dracula. As they say, but why would Dracula train you? And is he still alive? As Issei looked down, as his hair covered his eyes, he starts releasing so much bloodlust as he says Dracula is dead. As they think that Issei had a closer relationship to Dracula than he really said that he did. Otherwise, he wouldn't have lashed out like that. And he says, okay, now what do you want? And why are you here? Said Issei. As Sir Zek says, we want to know why you're coming to this school. And why does it need to be this school in this town? Because Sir Zek doesn't want a vampire, well, not a powerful vampire, like Gasper is a powerful vampire, but still. He says, I'll answer that question if you tell me where the vampire that's hiding is, because he can still sense the vampire. As Riaz looks over at Sir Zex, and Sir Zex nodded, because Sir Zex thinks that if Gasper does come out, he could just pause Issei in time. Well, he can try, but if it works, it'll be good for him. So Riaz goes to get Gasper. As she opens the door, Gasper's inside of his box, hiding. As Issei says to Sir Zex, well, what's the vampire's name? He says Gasper. So we go back to where Riaz is getting Gasper. Gasper doesn't want to come out, and he's staying inside the box as Riaz decides to grab a paper bag, cut out holes for the eyes and the mouth, and put it over his head so he doesn't feel as scared. So she brought Gasper out of the clubhouse as he sees Gasper, and Riaz, while walking back over there, tells Gasper to try to freeze the vampire in time. As when they get over there, they try to freeze Issei in time, but what they didn't know is that he's the son of Lucifer, and Lucifer has time manipulation. So he tried to freeze time for Alucard, but that didn't work. And says, time control, huh? That's a pretty powerful vampire there. As Sir Zex is screaming at Issei, saying, how are you still moving and talking? There's no way that you could be moving right now. That was supposed to freeze you in time. As Issei looks over at Sir Zex and says, this vampire had thousands, well, he had millions of years before he could freeze me in time. As Issei says, besides, this vampire is a cross-dresser. Why is he cross-dressing? And Gasper, because he's scared that his power didn't work on Issei, he hides behind Riaz, and Riaz says that he just likes to cross-dress. So he looks over back at Sir Zex. He looks at Azazel. Azazel's just trying to study Issei. As Azazel says, you're half devil, right? And who are your parents? As Issei looks over and says, yes, I am half devil, but you don't need to know who my parents are. As Issei is starting to get kind of mad because he don't like all these questions. So he says, one more question, then I leave. As Sir Zex says, you're not going anywhere until we're done talking here. As Michael asks, who's your devil parent at least? As Issei looks over at uh, Michael, as he says he's gonna tell him the truth, just to instill fear into everyone there. He says Lucifer. As he pauses time for everything around him in a 50-meter radius, as he goes back to his castle, he's pretty mad. So he goes on a killing spree. Just on his way back to his castle, he kills a bunch of people. Anyone in the roads that he had frozen, anyone that was in his path toward the castle. He killed anyone that was there going that way. As he unfroze time for Sir Zex and the others, as everyone saw that he just disappeared after saying that his devil parent was Lucifer, as Sir Zex says it would make so much sense. As Michael says, you don't believe that, do you? As Zazel thinks that doesn't think he's the son of Lucifer either. As Sir Zex says Lucifer had time manipulation, and it would explain why Gasper's power didn't work on him. As they all thought about it, and they remember how ruthless that Lucifer was. Michael remembers that his sister used to destroy everything on the battlefield. And sorry, that was my phone. Oh, it texted me. And we see Issei going back in his castle as he sees Orpheus. Orpheus walks up to Issei and says, "Why have you been killing people, Issei?" As Issei explains everything to her, as he takes, Orpheus up to the top floor, he walks inside of a room and they both go inside. He closes the door, and you can use your imagination to assume what happens. So, but I'll just let you know that you're correct. So after you've been using your imagination, Issei walks back out of the room. Orpheus is still laying down in bed, and he goes downstairs to the kitchen and makes something to eat. As Orpheus gets up, she's limping. Yes, she is limping. I say use your imagination. As Orpheus says, "So what's for breakfast?" And he's making eggs, bacon, pancakes. Does anyone like banana pancakes? I like banana pancakes. Anyway, he basically makes breakfast as they sat down, ate together, and Issei is gonna go to the training ground that is outside his castle, and he uses earth manipulation with fire manipulation and tries to make a meteor, as he's been trying to do this move for weeks now, but it's not working for some reason. So he's thinking that he might have to use a meteor that might fly by the earth, but he tries it one more time, but he uses lava release as well. Well, yes, lava manipulation, as he is able to use telekinesis to raise the earth boulder up to the sky. He uses fire manipulation and lava manipulation, coats it, and just uses telekinesis to throw it back down. As it worked this time, as it destroyed it made a giant crater in his backyard, but he used earth manipulation to fix it. He is happy that it works, so he goes to get some blood. He kills a couple in their apartment, drinks their blood. As he goes back to school to see everything's normal, but but Sona, that's usually at the front gate to greet people, isn't there because she's talking to Riaz as he walks into his class. And after school, uh, Kiba comes back and says, "We would like Issei to come with us. Well, to come with me." As Issei looks over at him and says, "Why should I?" As the girls start yelling, saying, "You should go with the prince if he asks for it." And Issei looks over at everyone. He releases a ton of bloodlust, enough to put uh, a weak devil on their knees. I'm gonna say, yeah, weak devils are way stronger than humans anyway. So Issei gets up and he walks up to uh, Kiba, and Kiba says, "Please follow me." As when he closes the door, Issei turns into Bats. As when Kiba notices that Issei's not behind him, while he's walking, and he turns around, but he starts freaking out, saying, "Where is he?" So he thinks Issei just left. So he went back to the club room to tell Riaz. And when he makes it to the front door of the club room, he sees Issei just sitting there waiting for him, drinking a chalice of blood. Well, not a chalice. He's drinking a glass of blood. Yeah, a glass. As Issei looks over at Kiba, says, "You want some?" As Kiba just goes into the club room and Issei follows. And I'm going to say that the picture with Lucifer having a glass of blood, the only reason she has a glass of blood is because she was really the only devil that gained power from drinking blood. So every time Issei drinks blood, he gains power. And he feeds his hunger, so being half devil and half vampire is pretty short. So he walks into the club room. He sees everyone there. Well, Riaz and Sona's, both of their peerages are there. As everyone gets on guard. Well, everyone gets tense, including Riaz and Sona, when Issei walks in and he says, "What do you want?" As Riaz says, "We just want to know why, if you're holding back your power or not." And he says, "Look at my gloves." And they see a weird magic circle that they've never seen before on his gloves. And he says, "This is holding back most of my power. I still hurt all of you very badly in the form I'm in right now. If I release one of the restraints, I could kill you all. If I release all the restraints, I can kill the four I can't pronounce that word, I'm sorry. The four great devils currently: Lucifer, Beelzebub, Leviathan, and the other one." And Issei looks at everyone and says, "What's wrong? You scared?" As Issei gets up, he's about to leave, but Akeno walks up to him and says that they just want to know if you're gonna try to be a threat or not. As Issei looks over at Akeno and he says, "Not unless you try to fight me." As he walks out of the class, well, not the class, the club room. As while he's walking through the park where Issei died in canon. As we see Rainier flying in toward Issei, as she throws a light sphere directly at Issei. Issei catches the light sphere and throws it back at her, and impales one of her wings as she fell to the ground. And when she gets up, throwing more light spheres at him, he just blocks them or throws them back at her, mainly at her wings and her non-vital spots. And he decides to stop playing as he's been getting really, really mad over the past few days. He uses, he uses soul manipulation, which is some that Lucifer had that he's gonna have, and he takes Rainier's soul out of her body. As I'm gonna say, somebody was watching this. I'm gonna say Konako was watching it because Riaz wanted somebody to watch Issei, as Konako left to go tell Issei that, Riaz, that Issei has the ability to take souls out of people's bodies, and we see Konako telling Riaz that, as Riaz is about to pass out because she realized how powerful Issei must be to be able to do that, as she's gonna ask Issei if he could be a part of her period temporarily just to take out Riser. And I think that's where we're gonna leave this part off, guys. Hope you like, subscribe. Well, bye. I'll see you next time. Hopefully I can upload this video later. Well, not this video, another video later. And bye.